Hey everyone, welcome to a brand new Hangout right here on Night Owl Video. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you everybody who watched my Halloween Hangout, although the numbers did seem to dip a little bit on that. I guess Halloween's not everybody's bag, and that's okay. Like I said in my video, I'm not like a mega Halloween fan. I'm just it's cool. I like it. I like the changes in the season more than the treats are good too, don't get me wrong. Um, I had lots of those little mini chocolate bars and things like that. But you gotta watch yourself too, because that stuff's so addictive and not so good for your body. So, how is everyone today? It's the beginning of November, which is a weird month for me. As I mentioned in a previous video, it's kind of my from now till the new year. I kind of look at this as my sort of like my I don't want to say spiritual time, but kind of a magical. I find there's just a different feel to this time of year. And I tend to dig more into like fantasy movies. My drawings tend to go more fantasy related. It's just, I don't know, there's just something about it. Maybe that's not a lot of people's experience. I also feel kind of, I want to say like years ago, I said like my seasonal affective disorder actually happens after Halloween, because I used to really build up to the Halloween thing with horror movies and stuff. And as the years have progressed, I've gotten a little away from that. And so I don't feel that kind of sadness anymore when Halloween's over, but I am looking for something else. And that's usually why I dig in on other things like fantastic things. So, if you're new here, the Hangout is a video I try to do every week. Sometimes I'm not successful, but generally speaking, I think we're up to about week 8 or 9 now of this series. And basically, I encourage you to just get a hot cup of coffee, a hot cup of tea, some juice, whatever, water, whatever you want. Get a cozy blanket if you're cold, obviously. And just hang out with me for a little bit. I talk about physical media, that is what I watched this past week, music I listened to this past week, any physical media pickups, which I have a few this week. And then as of last week, I think I started talking about new releases that are coming out in Canada on physical media. So I have my trusty laptop with me. Last week, I think I wrote out a list. This week, I'm just going to go through. And the website I use is blu-ray.com, which probably some of you know already. And I'm just going to go through and tell you what's coming out this Tuesday, which is today. Although my upload speed at my apartment is very slow, so this video may not appear till Wednesday. But anyway, you'll know what's coming out on disc this week. So if you're into that kind of stuff, I'm also slowly moving away from new releases, so just money and also space with my collection, and just do I need all that stuff. So like, and I'm glad, like in a few instances, like I Know What You Did Last Summer 2025 was a movie I wanted to see in the theater, missed it. Subsequently saw it on streaming, thought it was awful, but that would have been one where as soon as the Blu-ray came out, I would have gone and bought it. And so I'm kind of moving away from that model a little bit. And I think if I watch something on streaming and I really, really like it, then maybe I'll consider buying a disc. But not just a Fantastic Four First Steps is another one that I really want to see, which is coming to Disney in Canada on Friday, I believe, Disney Plus. That's another one. I've seen the Blu-ray at my local department store, and I thought, oh, I really, but the cost of things now, and the Blu-rays went up at my local department store. They used to be I think they were $24.99. They've gone up to $26.99. So that's $30 for a new movie. And again, if you don't like the movie, if you don't end up liking the movie, that's a lot of money spent on something you could have spent. That's like a couple days worth of groceries at this point. Really though, You go to the grocery store to get one bag of groceries and it's like $80 or something. It's outrageous. Anyway, so I'm enjoying some President's Choice coffee, just barely, again, the cost, with some Earth's Own, made in Canada, almond milk or oat milk. I find oat milk, you get more mileage out of it. A little dash of oat milk will lighten the acidity of your coffee quicker than I find the almond milk. And my good friend Tracy also told me that almond milk is really hard on the environment. I guess the cleaning process of the almonds and all that, and I don't know. So I have been reverting more to oat milk. But you can choose whatever beverage you want. I probably can't show you on camera, but, oh God. I'm in my favorite armchair in the place where I live right now, and I also have my Star Wars. It has the big letters Star Wars on it. This is my big flannel blanket that my sister bought me a couple Christmases ago, which I love. It's very toasty warm, perfect for this time of year. And beside me is the blanket that my great-grandmother made for my mother, which my mother gifted to me because she didn't really use it much. And this has also become sort of a Linus security blanket, if you will. But yeah, it's nice to get cozy, and yeah, so let's dig in. I've been talking for almost 7 minutes about blankets and coffee, so what should I do first? I think I'll do what I listened to this past week first, and then I will go to what I watched this week, which wasn't much. Was it anything? Did I watch anything this week? I seem to be watching a lot of YouTube channels lately. Not that that's new, but I seem to be watching more of those. I found a couple of really good history channels and a couple of really good, like, haunted England kind of channels and things like that. I find even like just having that on the background, I find it quite comforting. But what I listened to this week, so yeah, let's see. When I was at work yesterday, no, I'm going to go back earlier in the week. So earlier in the week, I listened to Dead Can Dance. This is the CD called Into the Labyrinth. This is put out on 4AD Records. Is my magnifying glass nearby? Yes. Listen, people, when you get older, and the print on these CDs gets smaller, I swear, every year. This CD is from 1993. And this has the ubiquitous Mr. Lovegrove, which I like that song. Towards the Within. Oh, I really like that last one. How Fortunate the Man with None. So yeah, if you like world music, a little dash of spookiness. Lisa Gerrard, who sings for the band, does not, to my knowledge, does not sing lyrics. She actually, she just makes sounds with her voice, and it sounds like words, but it's just sounds, which I always found really fascinating about Dead Can Dance. But the fellow in the band, which his name is escaping me right now, Brendan Perry, he does sing actual sings in English. But yeah, I always found that really fascinating. On the Halloween video, I did show quickly, just in passing, a Dead Can Dance VHS that I have, and in that VHS, behind the scenes, she talks a lot about how she finds those sounds to make with her voice, and how she weaves like different, Middle Eastern kind of scales with her voice, and it's really, really fascinating. If you don't know Dead Can Dance, as I mentioned in previous videos, and you like mystery and you like some darkness with your music, this could be your jam. Maybe that's a new video series. This could be your jam. But yeah, I did Now I listened to another Dead Can Dance one because I was in the mood. I was in the mood for listening to more of it, and I've picked up a lot of their CDs over the years, really cheap at like thrift stores and charity shops, and but not done a really deep dive on a lot of them. So with this um, uh, renewed interest, I'm going back and listening to some of them. I did listen to another one. I can't remember. It might have been the Serpent's Egg or something, and I don't know if I like that one as much. But this one I did quite like, and it's got great percussion. Again, the world music elements, they do pick up instruments from around the world when they're on tour, and they incorporate those into their sounds. And then related, I also listened to the Cocteau Twins' Treasure, also on 4AD Records. This would be from, I don't know, late 80s, I'm guessing. Oh, no, it's 84. I don't know what I was thinking. This has a lot of their pretty well-known songs. Ivo, Lorelei, Persephone. There's a lot of stuff on here. This is Cocteau Twins started out as a very like ethereal, and then they incorporated a real big drum machine into this album. The snare really reminds me of the snare drum on Tears for Fears, Songs from the Big Chair. It's got that big snappy snare drum. And I thought I heard in interviews with the band years after this came out, and they said they didn't like this album that much because of that big artificial drum sound. But I love it myself. I find it really works. Yeah, this album is literally a treasure. So if you like shoegaze, if you like ethereal, if you like even some ambience, if you like that dreamy, and 4AD Records were the masters in the early to, I would even argue later 80s, 86, 87, 88. They were just at the top of the game with a lot of that stuff. I know they're still around. I believe they've put out some great newer stuff. A couple of years ago, I heard a band called Dry Cleaning, I think they were called. They were excellent. So 4AD Records always, to me, always had their finger on the pulse of like really interesting music. Clan of Zymox, or I think that's how you say it. Cocteau Twins, Dead Can Dance. Pixies were on 4AD Records early on. I think maybe they were the first label to put out the Pixies. Who else was on there? Dead Can Dance, Cocteau Twins. Those are like the big ones. But they put out so much stuff. Oh, this Mortal Coil, or Mortal Coil, whatever. I used to have a cassette of that compilation Lonely as an Eyesore, which I would love to get that on CD. I don't know how rare that is, but if you want to check out more, Color Box was another cool band on that label. Just so much good stuff. So much good stuff. So anyway, so that was kind of earlier in the week, and then I went to, I guess I could include this in there too. This is Tear Garden. The CD is called Tired Eyes Slowly Burning, which I believe is 2 EPs maybe smushed together. This is Edward Casebell from legendary Pink Dots and Kevin Key from Skinny Puppy. And even Nivek Ogre from Skinny Puppy makes a little appearance on, what's that amazing song? You, Me, and Rainbows, I think it is. I specifically like the latter half of the CD. The Center Bullet, Ophelia, Tear Garden, My Thorny, Thorny Crown. Those, I believe, appeared on a cassette tape just by themselves, and that was an EP. And then I think, somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is like a compilation of 2 EPs. I don't think there's anything in the notes, but that's weird. It says, The Tear Garden, Tired Eyes Slowly Burning, and then underneath it in very tiny letters it says, We will pour our jars in reservoirs. Okay, on the inside of the booklet it says, track 1 to 6 recorded June the 7th to the 15th of 1987 at Mushroom Studios, Vancouver, except for one track which was recorded in 1985, and then tracks 7 to 10 produced and engineered by David Ogilvy and the Tiergarten, 1986. Yeah. So, yeah, and I had a very close special friend in high school, and she had that tape with Center Bullet, Ophelia, Tiergarten, and My Thorny Thorny Crown, and we used to sit around and listen to that, and it was just so fantastic and dreamy. So after years of trying to find this, I did finally find this at Backstreet Records in Fredericton in the year 2023. Yeah. So shout out to my good friend Eric at Backstreet Records in Fredericton. I mean, somebody traded this in. He just happened to have it. And it happened to be there when I went in, and I was like, I remember taking a big gasp. Oh my God. I've been wanting to listen to this for so long. I mean, I've listened to it on YouTube, but it's not the same as having a disc. Then that led me to some, I had a customer at my retail job telling me that actually this is a cool tie-in, because going back to the Cocteau Twins and snare drum sounds, I had a customer in, and we talk about music a lot, and this person said that he picked up a vinyl copy of Tears for Fears, Songs from the Big Chair, which I just mentioned a minute ago, and I don't know why, but for whatever reason, Tears for Fears were in my brain. And when I was getting ready for work on Saturday, I was going through my CDs to see what CDs I might want to listen to at work. And I came across Tears for Fears, The Hurting from 1983. And I thought, fantastic. This is great music for around this time of year. Although I remember first hearing like Mad World and Pale Shelter probably in the summertime when I was a teenager in 1983 or 84 on our music video channels. In Canada, Much Music, and then we had Friday Night Rocks was another video show that we could watch, and they would play videos. And I know Corey will probably remember this one. And maybe I've brought this up before, but it was on, I want to say it was on Channel 7. I think it was ABC. I could be wrong. I think it was ABC. Saturday nights at midnight or 11, there used to be a late night video show, and they would play a lot of, like, back then what they called alternative, which would have been like stuff like this. And I remember seeing a lot of those videos. Tears for Fears, Icicle Works, Billy Idol, Duran Duran, Thompson Twins, like all that stuff, which is the stuff that, as I've gotten older, gone back, and I just, it's like, oh, just love this stuff. Not only was it pretty cool songwriting, but it was early synthesizers and drum machines, and there was a sort of willingness to try to be a little darker, or, just, I don't know if it was just like that new wave, but it was like early new wave. It sort of, I think it had a twinge of like a tinge of the post-punk. So a lot of those bands, like Tears for Fears and Tears for Fears, Duran Duran, Thompson Twins, I think maybe this is just speculation, but I'm guessing maybe they took a bit of inspiration from like Public Image Limited or Bauhaus or Joy Division, and then integrated in with more of a poppy sound. And that's what created these fantastic records. This is a great album, very sparse. This is Tears for Fears starting out. I don't know if I think this is their first album, if I'm not mistaken. They might have had a couple things before this, but this is Kurt Smith on vocals and bass and keyboards, and Roland Orzabal on vocals, guitar, and keyboards. Rhythm programming. This is from Mercury Records. I'm pretty sure this CD is an early pressing, if I'm not mistaken. Look at the CD. It's even got that weird kind of like, it's almost like I don't know what you call that. weird scientific looking kind of thing. And then there's a picture of the band here somewhere. I mean, you can see clearly there that, there's some fellas that are pretty contemplative. They've got some cool haircuts, some trench coats, and they're just, they're just watching some ducks and thinking about, the challenges of life. But yeah, I love this album. This was a real treat to listen to on Saturday morning. It was kind of overcast, cool. Put this on. Had a little portable heater beside me, just chilling. Mad World, Pale Shelter, Memories Fade, Change. Oh God, there's so much good stuff on here. So if you like Tears for Fears, this is the humble beginnings, but to me, some of the best. And that led me to Aha, Hunting High and Low. This is from 1985, I believe. Yep, 85 from Warner Brothers. These guys were these guys from Sweden? No, I don't remember. I should have looked that up before I got on here. Oh, their fan club is in England, but I always thought they were maybe from somewhere else. But of course, Aha, this album really skyrocketed these guys to their 1 minute of fame, their flash in the pan. I mean, they still kept going, and as far as I know, they're still going, but I could be wrong. But this was the one that really put them on the map. This, of course, had their big hit single, Take On Me, which had that really innovative video with the animation and that. But for me, this had The Sun Always Shines on TV, which, oh man. So back in these days, 86, I was just starting high school. No, I was in grade 11, starting grade 11 in the fall of 1986. And I didn't stay home from school being sick very often, but I do remember one day, no, wait now, maybe that was 85. Yeah, it was fall of 85. I stayed home from school one day because I was feeling under the weather. And I listened to my local campus community radio station, which is CHSR FM, 97.9 FM on your radio dial in Fredericton, New Brunswick, and streaming online, chsrfm.ca. And back then, like, sort of top 40 artists were on the charts, the top 30 charts at campus community radio. And they played The Sun Always Shines on TV on CHSR FM, and that's where I first heard that song. And in my delirium, in my neo-citron haze, I heard that song, and I loved that song. I stayed home from school. I remember recording this particular show off of CHSR, and I can't remember what the show was. They also played a track by the band Blancmange. And I don't know why I remember. I guess because I recorded it and then I listened to that tape over and over again. I probably have that tape somewhere in my cassette archives. Long story short, I heard The Sun Always Shines on TV on that show, which I guess was like the new releases maybe or something like that. And I just fell in love with that song. And then I think it was Christmas that year, me and my friend Andy exchanged gifts, and he asked me what I wanted for Christmas. And I said, get me that Aha cassette for Christmas, which he did. And yeah, I just fell in love with that album. Love is Reason, I Dream Myself Alive, Living a Boy's Adventure Tale, Blue Sky, Train of Thought. This thing is stacked. For me anyway, this is just, I love every song on this album. There's not a dud for me, so give it a chance. If you only know Take On Me, give them a chance, because they had some other songs that had that were equally cool, and also the lyrics might have been a little more introspective. Take On Me, of course, is just a classic 80s pop, new romantic kind of thing. It's got those snappy drums. It's got that cool video. All the especially the lead singer, who was just, to me, was like drop dead gorgeous. But what was his name? Mags or something like that. I thought I saw their names on the CD, but maybe not. But the lead singer was, and I'm guessing probably still is, quite beautiful. He's there on the cover. He's there on the back. The other dudes were cute too, but the lead singer for me was just. I think his first name was Mads for some reason, which then makes me think they're not British. I can't believe their names aren't on here. Their names have to be on here. Anyway, I'll have to let it go, but yeah. Cute and good and clever songwriters. Which leads me to then the other day I was feeling a little more rock. Before I forget, let's have some coffee. Is everyone okay? Is everyone doing okay? I know these videos tend to run a little long, but I'm enjoying them. I think I'm getting some thumbs up, so I guess some people like these videos. I like making them. I feel like they're a little more personable than my movie reviews, where I was just like looking up information online and stuff. Ideally, this would be like a live chat, and I would have you guys sending me questions or comments about things, which I'm building up to it. So of course, also at this time of year, I listen to a lot of progressive rock, and the two that I remember listening to this past week, Saturday morning, I also listened to Yes, Fragile from 1972. Great album, excuse me. Roundabout, Long Distance Roundabout, Heart of the Sunrise. This is a great album. I've probably talked about this one before. I did look at the booklet a bit more on Saturday and discovered that it has a lot of beautiful paintings. There's the band, of course. And then there's some more paintings by Roger Dean. There's another one on the back. I love Roger Dean's artwork. Big inspiration. He's becoming more of an inspiration on me as an artist, as an illustrator. I wish I could. Well, someday I hope to maybe be able to paint as elaborate as that. I don't know what his medium is. If it's watercolors or acrylics. Sometimes it gives me that kind of watercolor look, but I love his artwork. But this album, great from start to finish. Yeah. And then I also listened to Emerson, Lake and Palmer, The Best Of. Goes without saying. Still You Turn Me On, Fanfare for the Common Man, Knife's Edge, Tarkus, Lucky Man. I think actually, did I mention this one last week? I may have mentioned this one last week because I think I did mention that has I Believe in Father Christmas. Seeing as how we're coming up on the Christmas, well, yeah, we still got a little ways to go. And then also, so yesterday I was at work. Monday, I was doing an extra shift yesterday at my retail job, and I was kind of in the mood for some metal. And if you watched my recent pickups, I grabbed Sacrifice, Nocturnus, and Morgoth. So I listened to all three of these albums, and I read all of the lyrics. And that was a treat. That was a real treat. It's interesting to me. Oftentimes, like, I'm not a big lyrics person. As a musician, I like the musicianship more. I tend to listen to the music more than the lyrics. So for me to really dig in on the lyrics is kind of a treat because it forces me to kind of slow down and kind of like really listen to the music and really like try to glean some what's the word? I don't know what I'm looking for. Understand the song better and really dig in on the lyrics, which is something, you know, a lot of people do that. I tend to gravitate more to the music. The music is what moves me. But yeah, I listened to Sacrifice, Torment, In Fire. This is a lot of lyrics or a lot of, which is also cool. I noticed, and this this package, which I highlighted in one of my pickup videos recently. But this is a Brazilian pressing, a Brazilian reissue. Excuse me. And the packaging on this is elaborate. It has the booklet, has these big foldouts with really cool photos. Oh yeah, I also wanted to show you for my maritime friends in here. I don't know how well this will pick up on camera. For my maritime friends, if you want to freeze that, this particular poster right here, you may notice some bands. I noticed this when I was reading the lyrics. Sacrifice with opening act Sudden Impact, who were a great Canadian crossover band in the mid 80s. But the opening acts on this show were System Overload, Moral Support, and Adrenaline, all three bands from the Maritimes. In fact, I believe, Tanya maybe have to fact check me on this, but I think John Vine, an old friend of mine, sang in one of those bands. I think it was System Overload. Moral Support, I feel like, was an old, was it maybe an older Halifax hardcore band. And Adrenaline, I don't remember anything about them, but I definitely saw some of those bands play in Fredericton, New Brunswick at some of my local venues. And then I was in a band with John Vine years later called Roach. And John Vine's a super cool dude. I actually think about him often. He was one of the people from that era that I used to have really great conversations with him about music. And we had a lot of the same taste in music. So yeah, he was just a super nice guy and just a super cool, like he was just a great front man for a hardcore sort of crossover type band. But so I listened to this one a lot. And so the thing I was going to say is before each song, the guys talk about like what the song's about. So they mentioned the movie Evil Dead a whole bunch of times, which makes me very happy. I'm trying to remember which one it was. There was one song in particular that, Necronomicon, of course. Ignite the candles of hell, burn to my coven's spell, bound by human flesh, recite the book of the dead. Black forces open the grave, death is now my killing slave. Rising souls of the damned hide in the pentagram, Necronomicon. Follow through the trees, possessed souls lurk to kill. A word I won't say. You lie by the forces of hell, released to die. I am the necromancer. The dead eat your mind and soul. Maggots fill your eyes. Black magic takes your life, Necronomicon. To the gates of hell I return. Hades' fire once again burn. Coven rejoices, rites are read back to hell. Return the evil dead. So yeah, it's kind of that kind of thing. And then on the song Burned at the Stake, Rob Urbanati from Sacrifice says, George from Cannibal Corpse told me that they almost covered this song, Burned at the Stake, instead of Sacrifice. So I'll have to go and dig around and see if I can find Cannibal Corpse covering Sacrifice's track, Sacrifice. But yeah, this is great. And I haven't even, this is a 2-disc set. I've just got through the studio tracks on disc 1. I haven't even got, there's the Exorcism demo, which is the second half of the first disc. Then there's 2 live shows and a couple of extra tracks, I believe, unless that's a DVD. No, it's a CD. But yeah, great edition of that. Really happy to have that in my collection. And as I may have mentioned, I have, it's a limited edition. Not that I'm really like hung up on that, but I have copy number 6 of 1000, which is pretty cool. Sacrifice, great Canadian speed metal band. Then that led me to my other two, and these were like recent pickups of mine, which I got at Renegade Records in Dartmouth, Nova Scotia. I picked up Nocturnus the Key, and I listened to this past weekend. This was on the hi-fi. There's the band. And the interesting thing about this came out in 1990. This is the 2000 reissue from Earache Records. And the cool thing about this is that I didn't really ever spend a lot of time dissecting their lyrics, but I always figured they were kind of, I knew they had sci-fi elements in their lyrics, but what I didn't realize is they also have very like satanic lyrics as well. And then they kind of weave science fiction with Satanism and like ancient history. There's a track called Neolithic. There's a song called Droid Sector, which is all about like alien androids attacking Earth. There's a track called Andromeda Strain, which I have to revisit that movie. I think those lyrics are about that movie. But then there's some very like anti kind of Christian stuff in it, like very satanic, kind of, I guess you'd say blasphemous to some. I don't take any of it too seriously, but it's interesting to see. And then, like I said, there's a couple tracks where they kind of weave this sort of satanic stuff in with science fiction, which I thought was kind of an interesting mix of stuff. But yeah. And the drummer, Mike Browning, is also the lead singer. So not very common. Triumph is a band from Canada that does that. And then the last thing I listened to was Morgoth. And this is a CD called Cursed. This is from, this CD is from 2006, but I think the actual album is from 91, I want to say. And this is a pretty nice edition. This has a fold-out poster with the band. And then on the back it has all the lyrics. And I think these guys are Swedish, if I'm not mistaken. You can correct me if I'm wrong. I noticed that their English is a little funny. I don't know if it's like a language barrier with English, but I do find sometimes the lyrics, the wording is a little funky. But what I do like about this CD is that because of that little, I think it's like a language barrier with English, maybe from Swedish to English, is that they, some of the wording is just a little funky. It's just not, I don't think like English speakers would put particular words in a series like that, but it then in a weird way gives it this almost like a mystical kind of vibe. So I don't know if they were purposely going for that or if it's like kind of a misuse of English words in the lyrics, but I found it to be quite fascinating, really. And like trying to decipher the lyrics and really understand them. And again, it gives it that kind of like almost a weird otherworldly kind of understanding of the lyrics. So I don't know if I'm alone on that, but this is from Century Media from 2006. It's a reissue, of course. So that was what was on the hi-fi this week. I listened to a lot of music this week, which was cool. I've been spending a lot of time listening to music, which is probably why I haven't watched a lot of movies. Oh, and related to music, I also discovered Tommy Aldridge, who is a drummer, a very well-known drummer. He played in the Ozzy Osbourne band in the 80s, and he played in Whitesnake in the 80s, and he played in a lot of bands. But I found like a clip of him playing drums, and I was watching him play the drums. And that man is a monster behind the drum kit. So that led me to watching a bunch of these clips where he talks about the process of writing the drum parts for the songs. Now, bear in mind, he's self-taught. He cited like Keith Moon and John Bonham and Ringo Starr as his kind of inspiration, from what I read. And there's some wicked videos on YouTube. So even if you're not into drums, watching him play drums, and this man is now in his 70s. I think he's in his mid-70s. He plays like somebody in their 20s. Like, he pounds on those drums. And I love, when I grew up, you didn't have like multi-camera angles on a drummer so that you could see the foot pedal going and the cymbals and everything. And so they do these multi-angle cameras on him playing the drums. The ones I specifically watched were I think it was Ozzy Osbourne, Bark at the Moon. It is a Wicked one, and Whitesnake, Still of the Night, which are, I mean, they're wicked songs anyway. But to see him show you how he came up with those drum parts and then play along with them, and he is just a beast behind the kit. I love watching him play drums. I actually find it kind of inspiring. Kind of inspiring. I would It makes me want to play drums, really, which I know I mentioned a while ago. I used to play drums in my younger days, and I was never great at it, but I always enjoyed playing. So it's kind of one of those things I was like, man, if I could find like a little practice studio or something somewhere, I think that's something I might like to pursue. But anyway, Tommy Aldridge, go check him out on YouTube. He's just a wicked drummer. And he tells some behind the scenes stories of the songs, and he's been around for a long time. And his playing with Ozzy Osbourne and Whitesnake is, like, to me, if you watch those videos, you watch him play, and then you go watch a Whitesnake video from, I think he was on like the self-titled and Slip of the Tongue, in around that era. He was playing drums for them. To me, he really made those songs because his accents on those notes and the way I don't know how he plays, but he brings his arm up over his head when he's playing. Like, it's wild. Go check it out if you like drums, or even if you just like the making of a track, like that song exploder kind of thing where they take apart a song. It's just brilliant. It's just brilliant. So I was watching a lot of those videos. I'm trying to remember. Oh, I watched 2 movies on streaming. The first one I watched was Jurassic World. Oh God, I've forgotten the name of it. The new Jurassic World movie, with Scarlett Johansson. It started streaming on Paramount. Oh no, it started streaming on Amazon in Canada about a week ago. So one night this past week, I was bored and I was like, "Oh, I'll watch the new Jurassic World movie," and I thought it was extremely boring, generic, uh, just like the beginning. I was all on board. I was like, "Oh yeah, Scarlett Johansson and the lead guy are going to the museum. The museum's closing down because I guess, I don't know, there's something to do with they don't have enough money, so they're closing shop. And then they take this paleontologist guy with them, and we're going on an adventure back to the island. And we've got these mutant dinosaurs that we engineered, and so there's this. It's just that it's the same story over and over again, right? I mean, it's with a lot of these movies. Um, and so they go back to the island. Of course, there's dinosaurs, and of course, bad stuff happens, and people get killed, and blah blah blah. I found the beginning to be. It didn't waste any time getting to the airplane going to the island, which kind of like got me like, oh, okay, cool. We're gonna go see some dinosaurs, and there's like these mutated dinosaurs. There's one with this great big like round forehead that looks like a cave troll from Lord of the Rings or something. And I was like, okay, let's see where this goes. But I have to say, from the time they get to the island to the latter part of the movie, it's very boring. You're just like, oh, okay. They just have the little run-ins with the different dinosaurs, and then the girl has the little cute dinosaur, and she keeps it in her backpack, and so you care about the by the end of it, I was just waiting for it to be over, basically. So no slight against. I know it was Gareth Edwards directed it, who also did the Godzilla 2014, and I know he did some other stuff. Was it Monsters maybe or something? And he did Star Wars Rogue One, I believe. So he's a competent filmmaker, but I think it's just we've killed Jurassic Park, Jurassic World, we've overdone it. There's not much new you can do with it, you know. So I know Gareth Edwards was trying to give it that kind of like gritty feel, like he did with Star Wars, but I don't know. It was just so generic. Like my review of or my thoughts on I Know What You Did Last Summer 2025, unnecessary. We just don't need it, guys. We just don't need it. Now, for Jurassic Park and Jurassic World fans, if you want to go back to that world and you want to see more dinosaurs, the special effects are cool. I am a huge fan of the underwater dinosaurs, so there was a lot of that in this movie. So if you like that, during those scenes, yeah, like the underwater dinosaur attacking the yacht and stuff, like I was like, okay, cool, I'm into it. But it just couldn't keep the movie going. There just wasn't enough meat on the bone, as they say. And then the other movie I watched, which I've heard people talk about for years, is Lake Mungo, which is I forget where that movie was made. I want to say Australia, but I could be wrong. That movie has been so hyped over the years to me, and I've been trying to watch it. I don't think it's streaming anywhere. I did find a copy on YouTube. I watched it. What? What? um, I was falling asleep. I was like, what am I missing here? And I know that happens to me sometimes, like the movie It Follows. I just don't get the hype. Um, what was that other one? Malignant. Lake Mungo. It was even on like the was it like Bravo's top 100 scariest movies of all time or something. I was like, there was one part where like a little jump scare thing happened where like a photograph came to life and it did like a like okay, but the rest of the movie was just talking about this girl that disappeared, and it's like a found footage, but not like a jerky found footage. Like it's very still moving, which it had. I will give it. It had great atmosphere and stuff, but otherwise, like I was reading some of the comments below, and some people were like, "What am I missing? When does the scary part happen? What's so scary about that? Like, what? Maybe I'm missing something." I mean, if you wanted to like turn off all the lights and like it's Halloween night and you're already on edge because you've had too much coffee or something, like, or you're just really sleepy and you want something that has like atmosphere, Lake Mungo was okay. But I think it was, again, one of those ones that just got so overhyped to me over the years that by the time I got to it, I thought, what am I missing here? So, and I know I've seen it on a couple of shows where they've said like scariest horror movies of all time, or like scariest horror movie moments, or like, and I did hear somebody talk about it, and they were saying maybe like when it came out in 2008 or 2009, I guess, maybe that was before all of the overkill of found footage, and so maybe it was scarier back then. But you lost me, folks. You lost me. So on to the pickups. I only have 2 DVDs that I picked up this past week, and so not a lot. I didn't find a lot in the stores. There was a Jean-Michel Jarre live in concert cassette tape, but they wanted a lot of money for it, and I just was like, you can keep your stupid cassettes. I'm trying to remember, like I see stuff now and I'm like, oh, like I saw Pulp Fiction on Blu-ray and I was like, yeah, probably would look really nice in high def. I only have the DVD, but I'm getting to the point now where I'm like, do I really need it? No, I'm okay with my DVD. So that happens to me quite often. I'm on the hunt for Lorena McKennitt Christmas album, or CD, I should say. I don't know if I mentioned this last week. I totally cleaned out all of my vinyl. Yes, I did mention that. So yeah, so just on the hunt for compact discs now. I think last week I got that Irish music sampler, which I've revisited a few times. But I'm really have slowed down a lot with my purchasing. I also have a lot of car repairs coming, so trying to be mindful. And the holidays, although I'm trying to kind of scale down my holiday spending as well. So I didn't really see much. I really did want that Jean-Michel Jarre cassette. I'll see what I saw it before it was priced, so I'm waiting to see what they put for a price on it. But I think they said it would be like $5 or something, and I was just like, I don't know. Cassettes aren't my favorite. So the two pickups I made this past week. The first DVD I got is Heavenly Creatures. This is a movie directed by Peter Jackson of Lord of the Rings fame. This is a movie I've never seen. I've been on the hunt for it. I get this mixed up with another movie a lot of times. Darling or something? I don't know. This is allegedly based on a true story. This was like a whole bunch of people, Time Magazine, Entertainment Weekly, New York Post, Chicago Sun-Times, all on their like year-end lists for whenever year this came out, which I'll see if I can find out for you. This came out in 1998, it looks like. This stars Kate Winslet, co-produced Peter Jackson, screenplay by Francis Walsh and Peter Jackson, produced by Jim Booth and directed by Peter Jackson. Wingnut Films production, co-produced with Fontana Films and the New Zealand Film Corporation. So it's 1 hour 39 minutes, and the New York Times says it's compelling. So it says thrilling and provocative Heavenly Creatures is the highly acclaimed true life story of the shocking crime that stunned a nation. When circumstances bring together two bright and highly imaginative teenage schoolgirls, they quickly form an unwavering bond, creating a fantasy world that only they can share. But soon their parents, disturbed by the intensity of the friendship, threaten to keep them apart. In retaliation, the girls vow to stay together, devising a secret plan that leads to shocking consequences. With captivating performances and startling original visual effects, Heavenly Creatures is gripping entertainment you won't soon forget. So I've heard lots about this movie. A lot of people I respect have praised that movie, so I will check that out. Yeah. It's raining outside. It's very cozy. I have my, I don't have like those like fairy lights, but I have like some various, I don't know if I can show you. I'll see if I can show you. Ooh, spin all around. I have lights hanging over there, and then I have lights on my underneath my TV. So it's very cozy in here. Very cozy. And then the other pickup I did this week, I got yesterday. I paid $5 for it, which is, I guess it's okay because this is a collector's edition and I've never seen this around before. And this will replace my sort of basic bitch edition of Jim Henson's Labyrinth. And this is a collector's edition. And this is in a hard box. And I had never seen this before yesterday. But I did decide to grab it. I'll show you the back in a minute, though. We'll pop onto the inside, which, when I opened it, I was like, okay, cool. I mean, I love the movie Labyrinth. It's one of my favorites from the 80s and from my teenage years. But this is a collector's edition, and on the inside, so it has this really nice collector's edition booklet, which has this kind of fold-out staircase, which, if you've seen the movie, you know that famous scene. But it folds out. There's all kinds of production art and making of stills. There's some artwork on the inside, which I love this stuff. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Brian Froud was, if I'm not mistaken. Now, I could be wrong. I thought, Brian Froud. Yeah, Brian Froud. So I think probably a lot of these sketches and illustrations were done by Brian Froud, and I love his artwork. He also worked on Dark Crystal And he also did those really nice books about fairies and goblins and things like that. I love those. I cherish those books. Although that said, I think I only have the fairies one, which is in very bad shape. But his artwork always inspires me, much like Roger Dean. I guess you could say, in a sense, has a similar style as far as like the landscapes and things and the color palettes. So it has that. It has some behind the scenes notes and things like that. That looks really cool, actually. Like, just like that. So then also on the inside it has this, and this was never opened. Whoever owned this kept it in really nice condition. This is a, what do they call it on the back? My God, my sight. So they call this a character sketch card by Brian Froud. And this one has a sketch of Hortense. So this is still in the cello. This would almost be cool to like get like take it out of the cellophane and have it framed. But yes, quite cool. If you like Brian Froud's artwork, you'll probably dig that. And then this is, what was this other thing that came in here? It was a collector's edition scene composite. The musical Fairies sequence is recreated in this unique interactive showcase of the special effects involved in shooting the scene. So it's again, it's a really nice, it's like a film still. And then it's got the scene behind them, so you can see. And then it creates that composite. With Jennifer Connelly there. And yeah, this Jim Henson just knocked it out of the park on this film. Along with, of course, I've said in the past, this is Jim Henson, George Lucas, David Bowie. This is like the Trevor Jones did the score. This is like the all-time 80s creative team up. Jim Henson and Lucasfilm present. Jim Henson film, David Bowie, Jennifer Connelly. Executive producer was George Lucas, directed by Jim Henson. So this thing's really nice. And then the back has, this is I guess an old J card, or not quite a J card, but like an insert. Let's see if I can gently. Oh, is it ripping it? I think it's ripping it. But on the back it has the door knocker there. I guess I'll just leave that the way it is for now. Actually, I could heat that up with a blow dryer and to get that thing off. But yeah, really nice edition. The only thing that's wrong with it is if you open it wrong, the rulung, this little tray has come separated from the thing, but I think I could probably glue that back on. Or just leave it as it is. It's not that big of a deal. And then on the DVD itself, it has all new, only on this edition, allegedly, though this is from 2004, so I know there's been nicer editions. I think Scream Factory just put out or is about to put out a Labyrinth, but this has over 100 photo gallery images, behind the scenes, cast, characters, concept art, which is probably what I'm most excited to look at, vintage poster boards, storyboards. Other special features include Inside the Labyrinth, making a featurette, trailers, talent files, interactive menus, scene selection, remastered in high definition, widescreen presentation, and subtitles in English and Spanish. And then, yeah, and then it includes these really cool extra things. So for $5, I thought that was a pretty good bargain. You know, now I told you in previous few videos that my local Value Village is now apparently grading stuff, even though they're not actually grading stuff, because this is $4.99, but yet there was I wanted to buy the movie Casper for my niece and I to watch before Halloween, and they also had $4.99 on that, and it was like a Walmart $5 bin edition. So clearly they're not grading these things. I looked this up online to see what it's roughly going for, and it's about a $10 to $20 thing, though now that these special editions are coming out from Scream Factory, and I think I saw another one that's like a bigger box Labyrinth edition. So this one's probably not as valuable, but still really cool to have in my collection, and I will get rid of that $5 Walmart bin copy that I have, which is just very bare bones edition. I don't think it has any special features or anything. So guys, that's what I watched this past week and what I picked up and what I listened to. This morning I started my quest into Middle Earth by watching some of the special features on this Blu-ray set. I did notice now the Lord of the Rings DVD box that I have from 2005, I think it is, has like a sort of like a roadmap of what's on all the discs, so you can like actually look at. But this one doesn't come with a booklet or anything, so I guess you're just to go through the discs themselves. But they have a lot of appendices. There's a map of Middle Earth on the inside. The discs are housed in here. So as I mentioned in a previous video, I will be taking a quest back to Middle Earth, which is what I do. Generally, I do it around the holidays more so, but what I'm doing this year is because I've never done a real deep dive on either The Hobbit or The Lord of the Rings box sets with the extra features, I'm going and checking out some of the, or I'm going to try to get through the extra features because I'm a maniac for Middle Earth, a Middle Earth maniac. And so I'm using this time to go back and explore some of that and hopefully get some inspiration for some paintings and some songs and things like that. But yeah, I love it. I've even been watching some of the stuff on YouTube, like interviews with Peter Jackson and stuff like that. I watched a great one from Lord of the Rings time, like the early 2000s, with Elijah Wood and Viggo Mortensen. And you may have seen that interview, and Peter Jackson's there. It's on the Charlie Rose show, which I know is problematic, but my God, Charlie Rose was a great interviewer. Turned out to be not such a great guy, but I shouldn't say that, but problematic in a lot of ways. But it was an interview where Viggo Mortensen was wearing a homemade shirt that said "No more blood for oil" or something like that, and he was talking about Iraq, and I thought it was really cool. And Charlie Rose let him talk, which was really cool. So that's a really fascinating interview if you want to go back and check that out. Now, before I go, just quickly, what's coming out on this? Oh my God, I almost spilled my coffee. Close. What's coming out on physical media this week? For you physical media nerds. So, November 4th, which is today, we have Hard Boiled coming out on 4K. The Breakfast Club, the John Hughes movie, coming out on 4K on Criterion from 1985. Outland is coming out on 4K from Arrow Video. We have The Naked Gun, the original, is coming out on 4K. Cheech and Chong's Last Movie from 2024. Is anybody going in for that? Vampires is coming out on 4K. The John Carpenter's Vampires coming out on 4K. Steelbook. We also have Subspecies 4 Bloodstorm coming out on 4. Is that 4K? Or that's just Blu-ray, I guess. What else? I guess that's about it. There's something called SS Experiment Love Camp from 1976. But yeah, I guess the main ones are Hard Boiled, Breakfast Club, Outland, all coming out on 4K, as well as Vampires on a 4K Steelbook. So the Arrow edition of Outland looks quite nice, though I wouldn't say that movie's something I would need like an extra special edition of. I have Hard Boiled on Blu-ray. I have Breakfast Club, Outland, Naked Gun, Vampires. I have all those on DVD, and I think I'm fine with those. No need to upgrade those. I'm just looking ahead to next week. Oh yeah, there's some good stuff coming out next week. But I will go over that next Tuesday. I did see that The Grinch with Jim Carrey is being re-released to the movie theaters at Christmas, so I might take my niece to see that. I don't know if she'd like that. She generally likes more like animated stuff, but it might be fun to go check that out at Christmas time. But that's it for me for today, guys. I've been over an hour, so if any of you make it to this distance in my video, thank you for hanging out with me. I hope I didn't put you to sleep. I hope you found some of that stuff interesting. Leave comments below what you've been listening to, what you've been watching. Did you watch any movies in the theater or on streaming this past week? Recommendations, if you have any awesome recommendations for me. This coming Friday to Disney Plus, we have Fantastic Four First Steps, which I will definitely be watching. I'll have to stay over at my mom and sister's house. Not overnight, but I guess for a couple extra hours so I can watch that, because Disney won't let somebody outside of your household watch it on a faraway TV or something. So stupid. And then also this Friday, the big news for horror and Guillermo del Toro fans, of course, Del Toro's Frankenstein is coming out this Friday to streaming. It is in theaters in a very limited run, but my theater's not getting it. So I will be wanting to watch that on streaming as well. I had also considered maybe waiting until the holiday break, because I will be spending some time at my mom and sister's house, so I could watch them, I guess, if I let the anticipation build to watch them at that time, but we'll see. But those are coming out this week on streamings, and both things I have really been wanting to see. So Fantastic Four First Steps, which is that one that came out in the summer that looks like sort of a 60s retro type Fantastic Four, and then Del Toro's Frankenstein with the guy from Star Wars. Forget his name, but that looks quite cool. I'm not a massive Frankenstein maniac. I like the original Universal Frankenstein. I can't say that I've ever actually seen any other versions of it. I know there was one with Robert De Niro that I'm not sure if that one's good or not, but yeah, so I'll go check that out, or I'll check it out on streaming when it comes out. So everyone, that is it for this week. I hope you've enjoyed this Hangout video. Thank you so much if you made it this far. Thank you everybody who has watched my last Friday's Halloween mini Hangout. And if you have any comments, leave them below. If you like this kind of content, consider giving me a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed already and you like this kind of content, consider subscribing. I always do, I'm trying to do this kind of Hangout thing once a week, and then I've incorporated my physical media hauls into my Hangout. So it's kind of a all-in-one thing. So a one and done. So that's it. As always, take good care of yourselves, your friends, your families, your loved ones, your community. Shop at your local stores. If you're Canadian, support Canadian businesses. If you're Americans and you love Canada, then we probably love you too. Yeah, I guess that's it. Questions? Anecdotes? Theories? Conspiracy theories? Odd ideas? Random thoughts? Leave them in the comments below. Yeah, that's it. Take good care. I have the rest of the day I'll probably watch some more of the Hobbit stuff, behind the scenes stuff, and I'm going to play my guitar and drink some coffee and just chill out. So, until next week, you know the drill. Until next time, I will see you at the video store or at the thrift store or just out and about somewhere. But until next time, take good care of yourselves and your friends and your family and your community, and I'll see you in the next video.